I love goal setting, and I have no problem in setting a goal and then just breaking it down into little steps and fully trusting in those steps. From being a little kid, you think running, you have to run fast. So when we try and run as a beginner, you're running like hard and then you're dying. So that's like one of the first things I teach the new people to slow down. We don't all just have a smooth sailing life. So if we can tackle it through running and get better, like stronger mentally, I think it helps you deal with your everyday living. One of my favorite things is it's hard, but I'm doing it anyway. Like face the fear and do it anyway. I had a period of time in my life where I was like ruled by the anxiety pre-running. And now I can't even imagine that would have been me.
Rachel Allworth is a running coach, a Pilates instructor, and the founder of Rachel's Runners in Sydney. Rachel spent 20 years as a teacher before becoming a running coach. And in her running career, she's run anything from 5K to 100K. That's like, 24 hours running? Completely wild. Her community, Rachel's Runners, has grown into over 400 members, helping everyday people achieve goals they never thought were possible. In this episode, we talked about the importance of reinventing yourself and doing hard things. Joining us at the adults table today is Rachel Allworth. All right, Rachel, thanks for being at the adults table.
Thank you.
What are you bringing to the table today? Tell us.
I think today we're going to talk about running and how it's really hard, and that might be scary for people, but how great it actually is for living your everyday life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I love that you say right off the bat that it's hard. And it sounds like that's something that you don't sugarcoat when you're coaching people. And tell me a little bit more about why that's important, that people know that it's hard, right off the gate.
I think if you acknowledge it from the start, it puts it out there instead of using it as an excuse, right? So if you put it there from the start, it's hard. I'm not going to use it as an excuse. I'm going to face it and just get through it. Yeah. Otherwise, you just say, "I know it's too hard. I'm not doing it."
Yeah.
Which is what lots of people just did. I just asked the kids, "Do you like running?" "No." "Why not?" "It's hard." Everyone's going to say that at the start.
And I feel like if you don't acknowledge it, the moment that you go out to run and you realize it's hard, you're like, okay, that's not for me. And then maybe you think, oh, it's because, again, it's me, or it's my body, or it's the, and it's not.
Yeah. And people will always say that to me. "Oh, no, it's too hard. I'm not doing that. I can't run." And I just always say, "Well, why not?" And their first response will be because it's too hard. And I just say, "Okay, that's all right. It's hard. Let's break it down and show you that if you break it down into manageable steps, it's hard, but we can get through it." And then, your hard gets higher and higher and higher, and you just sort of get through the hard.
Yeah.
But everyone has hard in their life, right? We don't all just have a smooth sailing life. So if we can tackle it through running and get better, like stronger mentally, I think it helps you deal with your everyday living.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I try and teach my runners, the people I coach. So
how do you think, because you mentioned breaking down the hards, or what do you mean by that when you're coaching someone? And let's say, because you coach people that from all levels, right?
Yeah.
And beginners, and I saw on your website that you say, like, I want to help you do your 5K nonstop.
Yeah.
So it sounds like you have like different levels of runners.
Yeah.
What do you mean like by break down the hards?
It's like for a new person, it's hard just to start. So we break it down by making the running time shorter. So you might run for 30 seconds. So that's your hard. And 30 seconds is hard for someone who hasn't run. And what I try and teach those people is, so to make it more achievable to run the 30 seconds, you need to slow down. So it's just little strategies, I guess. And then as you go along, so for someone who's already running 5K and they might want to do 10K, so then we say, okay, well, 5K is your base. That's sort of breaking down your 10K hard. Now we need to just give you little steps, manageable steps, to then just keep pushing the boundaries a bit, And then the 10K becomes a half marathon, and then it becomes a marathon, and then a 50K, and then 100K. So yeah, you start to sort of like see that, all right, if I can achieve this little bit of hard, it was hard, but it wasn't that bad. What can I do next that might just push me that little bit further? So yeah, I love goal setting. That's my thing. I love goal setting, and I have no problem in setting a goal and then just breaking it down into little steps and fully trusting in those steps. That's a lot of it too. You've got to trust in the steps and just believe that's going to get you to that goal. So I think if you do that, I try and teach people this, like, of course you get a bit sort of nervous and worried, but I just say, just put all your belief in that plan, follow it. Don't make it harder on yourself. Like we talked about, you can make it harder on yourself by not following the plan. But if you've got the goal, you've got the plan, you follow the plan, done.
That's that easy.
That's that easy. That's how we break down the hard.
Yeah. And what do you think is the importance of doing hard things, such as running, even if it's a 5K and then a 10K? What do you think is the importance of that in life? How do the people that train with you, how do they get their lives impacted once they start doing something hard?
Well, I think it sort of shows you that when you get to something that's hard in life that you might not want to do, that you've like already faced this hardness through your running or whatever, some type of hard. Okay, so if I break it down, then I can do it. Or I just, like with running too, sometimes it's hard and you think, oh, I've got this massive week of training. I'm just going to break it down and do today's run. Not going to think about the next day's run. Not going to think about next weekend's run. I'm just thinking about what I've got right now. And that's how you can get through life's hard things too. All right, I'm doing what I have to do today. I'm not thinking about that meeting I've got next week, or I've got to pack up my house and move or whatever. I'm just thinking about one thing at a time. That's what I try and tell people. And, like just being in that moment and not overthinking things, because this is when people get stressed and anxious and worried and they're, snowballs. So I think that's like sort of akin to the running training, right? We have something on our plan, we do today's work and then we do tomorrow's work, and then without overthinking it. Because people often say to me, like, back to running, oh my gosh, I really want to run a marathon. I don't think I'm going to be able to run that far. It's going to take a long time. And I say, at this point in time, right now, no, you probably can't. Not thinking about that. We're thinking about what we're doing right now.
Yeah.
Today's hard work. Let's do that.
Yeah.
Then the next day and the next week. And eventually you end up at the start line and the finish line. Same with anything you can do in your life, right? You just one thing. Don't overthink it. That's when, there's a lot of anxious people out there now. So constantly thinking about too far ahead. Just do ones at a time. Be in the happy bubble. That's what you hate to do. Stay in the happy bubble.
Yeah. And I feel like running also teaches you that, well, I think it teaches you that you can do hard things. It teaches you the importance of trusting the process.
Yes.
Living day by day, because you got to get this run out of the way. Tomorrow is, a new day.
Yeah.
This week is a new day. And I feel like it also teaches you to be in the moment. Like when you're running, you have to be very present.
Yeah.
And you have to like give it all, to that particular moment. And I feel like all of those things are, at least in my journey, I've been able to apply to other areas of my life.
Yeah.
And I think that right now I see that it's become, I don't know, at least here in the US, and you see the marathon numbers, it's become a bit trendy and more trendy over time, which I think is great for people.
Yeah.
But I also think that a lot of people just go with a trend, and there's such like a mindset, like power to running.
Yeah.
Which is why I like talking about these things, and I like people like yourself that are not only like, okay, I'm just going to build your program, but it sounds like you also, have conversations around the mental aspects of it and how to air the process and things like that.
Yeah, true. That's what I like about it, because once you can run for 30 minutes, honestly, you can run longer.
Yeah.
Even 5 minutes. Once you can run for 5 minutes, fitness-wise, you're good. You just then have to knuckle down with the brain. And I think also you have to remember that every run is not going to be great. Like even when you're fit enough to run a marathon or whatever, like you probably experienced it. Not every run every day is great. Sometimes they're awful. That's like life, right? Some days are awful, but we just go, all right, that was a bad day. Tomorrow's a new day. Move on.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I just think, it's really like sort of fits in well to life. If you can apply that to your daily living. Like quite often I have conversations with the people I coach like this, they come to me, they're all stressed. They've got this on, that on, that. And I'm like, okay, break it down. We don't have to think about that. You got to do this today. And I'm quite often not talking about their running plan. We're talking about their work life or what they've got going on with their family or whatever. I have a lot of conversations like that. But people say, oh, you should be a psychologist. I'm like, I'm not going back to uni now.
So how, and to that point, how did you transition into being a running coach? What was the journey for you?
So I wasn't ever a runner in school. I was one of those people, I hated it. In the cross country, I would hide behind the buildings. I didn't want to run. And then one day, my sister and I, we just said, all right, let's get fit. We're going to start running. We didn't like the idea of it, but we thought we might give it a try. And we found this program, and you had to do a time trial, right? 1 kilometer as fast as you could. And then every 4 weeks you had to do that. And we hated the time trial. So the first one we did it took us like, I don't know, 10 minutes because we were walk running, huffing and puffing. And then the next, like the 4 weeks later, she said, all right, I'll go first. You time me, see what I do. And she ran the whole thing without stopping. And I said, oh, I can't let her beat me. I'm gonna have to run without stopping. And then that was like the sort of first part where we started running. And then I went to a fun run after that period, did a fun run, left it because my kids were little at the time. And my friend called, she said, where are you? I said, oh, I have to go. The kids are at home with Michael, my husband. I can't leave him for too long. And she said, oh, you won. I said, what? She said, you won. What did I win? She said, you won your age category. You came first. And I said, what? And then that was my switch in my brain that thought, oh, maybe I'm good at this. So then I just started training to do little fun runs to see if I could win like places in my age category. I never won a race outright, but I would quite often place in a run.
Yeah.
And then after I got over that, that was about a period of a year. And then I had heaps of people say to me, why are you running now? Like, how did you do that? I wish I could do that. And I started to think, why can't they do it? Like, what was the barrier for me previously? I said, well, they don't know where to start. They've got no one to help them or keep them accountable. And I just mentioned to a friend one night, we were on the treadmill at the gym. I said, oh, if I started a running group, do you think people would join it? And she goes, well, I would. So I just started a running group, and we just started to get these people coming, and we'd do sort of like go through intervals for 5K. Sometimes we have like 60 people at these learn to run groups on a Saturday morning.
Oh, wow.
I thought, how do we contain this? But I had this system where I'd have a whistle and my watch would be set, and I'd just blow the whistle at the start of the interval, and then everyone would run to their own pace. And I always made it like really welcoming because I wanted it accessible to people, like everyday people who weren't fit or weren't runners, or even if they were, whatever. Blow the whistle, you'd run, and then everyone at the front at the end of the interval would walk to collect everyone at the back. So we always backtracked and we stayed together, and we just went through that. And then it just built. So over time, people kept coming back and doing this same 5K training every few months. I'm like, you need to expand. And they're like, well, we don't know what to do. So then I went and became like a proper accredited running coach. I did like the 2 levels that you could do at the time in Sydney, and just started making further programs. So the whole sort of base people went along for the ride, right? We'll do 10K, we'll do a half marathon. And also for myself along the way, I was training and running events and gradually increasing my next goal. What's my next hard? So I went a bit crazy there. But it just built on and on from that. And then people decided they wanted to do their own thing. So instead of doing like just group training, I'd do individual coaching. And so, now I just have like a lot of different people doing a lot of different things. Some are in groups, some are by themselves. Yeah, that's sort of it. And I was a teacher as well. So I had that sort of people side of, I guess, counseling people. I taught kindergarten, but still,
Yeah.
you're used to talking to kids and parents and things like that. So yeah, it's just, I guess it sort of meshed together. Yeah. And then I quit teaching to go and do the coaching.
So did that process, because it sounds like it was very organic, right? It sounds like, oh, wait, I'm good at this.
Yes.
Hey, do you think other people would want something like this? Yeah, well, people are showing up, and then, oh, now they want to do this. They want, how? And what I'm trying to think is more in terms of career transition. Like, when were you like, okay, I might stop my teaching career right now to fully invest in this and Like, what was the transition process for you?
So I did it probably for about maybe 4 or 5 years just because I still had little kids, so I was only teaching 3 days a week. So on my days off, I could have a running group and we'd go and do whatever. And I did my run accreditation. So at first it was just all free catch-ups, let's do this, whatever. And then I thought, "Oh, maybe I could actually make a career out of this." I don't know how it's gonna go, but I said to my husband, and I'd built up quite a following after those 4 or 5 years, and I said, "Do you think I could, like, actually just take leave from work and see how I go?" And I was sort of, like, teaching, like, it's a great job, but it's really hard when you've got little kids and you wanna be good and dedicated and, you're waking up in the night thinking, "What can I do for these poor kids? What about my kids?" Like, I just started to have that sort of shift, and I was in my, like, later 30s. And he said, "Oh, yeah, just give it a go." So initially I just took leave without pay from work. So I still had the job there.
Mm-hmm.
And then 2 years down the track, I thought, I can't go back. And I'd already started to make this work.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was sort of the process. And he's so great. Like, he's really supportive in any of that type of thing. So that made it easy. Yeah. So, yeah, that was sort of the way that it went. Yeah.
What do you think kept people coming back?
Probably the support, like the community, I
Yeah.
think, because it's nice to have people that understand the journey, the running, they get it. And when you're out running, like you would know yourself, you're just talking everything to whoever is running with you. They know a lot about your life, right? And quite often we were running like in bunches with guys and whatever. They know all about what's going on. Like, one of our friends was a doctor. I'd be like, "Oh, doc, gee, what do you think about this?" Like, you'd just be riding the conversation with a female. So I think that's just connection. You're talking things through. They are supporting you all the time.
Yeah.
You're doing this hard stuff together, but it doesn't feel that hard when you've got people around you that are doing it as well. So, yeah.
And it doesn't feel lonely, right? It doesn't feel like, oh, or it keeps you going. I think even showing up and knowing that you're not the only one who's making the effort to be there. It's hard for everybody else, but you're all coming together
To do it. Yeah.
to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially those like hard, long sessions or the fast training. I think it's really, like, it's easy to go out for a 5K. Well, it's not. Yeah. But it gets to a point where I can just go and do that by myself. That's fine. But for those other harder runs, you need that support, I think. And that's what I like about it. So, yeah, I've had people now for many years that have made like great friendships, like, yeah, really good just from that.
Yeah.
Sometimes I just think, oh gosh, I can't believe that. How did that one thought turn into that? Even the name of like the group, Rachel's Runners, was like a bit of a joke at the start.
And like, okay, it's just my group of runners.
And it just stuck. And then someone like once down the track said, "Oh, you should change the name. Like, you can't really expand with that." And I said, "Well, no, that's the brand now. I can't change it. It's gone too far." So, yeah, anyway, it's fine.
Because how many people at some point were, yeah.
Oh, we've had like hundreds over the years. Like, over the years, it'll be hundreds of people. So I religiously used to do this learn to run, like on site, and I had 3 sites going at one point. And then it sort of transitioned in COVID because no one could meet up anymore. So then the learn to run just sort of transitioned to other types of programs. So I do still do like one learn to run a year. I do it all on Zoom now though. So they meet up from their location online and I talk them through the intervals that we would normally do in person. But I find it, the beginner level, they really, really need to be together with people to really be successful. You have this strong-minded people that will be able to get to it online, especially now when we can all meet up.
Yeah.
But it just never went back to that, and then I had my health issue that came up, which was another preventer from doing that. So, but yeah. No.
And I want to talk about that in a second as well. And also about reinventing yourself and how to pivot in life.
Yeah.
One thing that I wanted to ask you was about for the beginners, because you mentioned some interesting things like breaking your hearts. But what are some of the other things that you teach them to really, start building the consistency? Because I think it can be very hard. Like, you want to run, you say, I want to do this for myself, But the consistency piece can be very hard. Like,
Yes.
oh, I'm going to go twice a week, 3 times a week, or, however long. How do you help people find that strength within themselves?
So I talk a lot about not doing excuses. Like, I just don't do excuses. And if you look at everything that prevents people from running, they're all excuses, right? That I have no time. And I say, okay, show me your schedule. I'll find your time. It's hard. We've already talked about that. Yep, it's hard. I'm going to do it. Like, I'm not a runner. Well, what's a runner? Like, anyone can be a runner. Oh, it's too hot. It's too cold. The weather excuse. Like, there's just so many excuses. So I just start, especially with the online now that I talk to them through these sessions all the time. I pick an excuse every week and I go, right, this is the excuse we're going to talk about. And I just, no time. Okay. Everyone's busy. Every person is busy. They're working. They've got kids. If they're not, they've got other stuff going on in their life, sports, whatever. So we just work out where the gaps are and we fit it in. And then talk about, it's hard, but you're going to make it harder for yourself if you don't commit to the training. So yeah, just sort of do that. And then if it can take a few goes for people, like over the years, I had people who would attempt to learn to run and they just wouldn't succeed. You've got to be your time, right? And I can't make you do it. You have to be ready to go. So I've had people that would come 2-3 times. It wouldn't be till the 4th time they're like, right, I'm doing this now. Because they get that first sort of feeling of it. Then they hit it's too hard. It's getting too hard. But maybe they haven't fully realized all the reasons why they're giving in, or the excuses, as I call them. So, and I mean, sometimes it's just, there's a lot going on. But if you really want to do it, you just work it out.
Yeah.
Make a plan.
Yeah, I feel like sometimes we struggle more with I like the fact that these people can show up, see what it's like, and then maybe they're like, okay, this is too much. And then they think about it again, already knowing what it's like. So then the decision is maybe stronger the second time.
Yeah.
And I feel like the decision piece is one that needs to be, because I feel like a lot of times people focus on okay, so what about my training program? What about this? What about that? But if you hadn't made the decision first, and the commitment of, I really want to do this and I'm going to have no excuses and I'm really going to dedicate to this and all of that. I feel like if you don't have that piece, sometimes it can be hard, even if you have the best program, even if you have the best everything, right?
You've got to be ready to fully give everything to it. Yeah. And like I said, I can't make you be ready.
Yeah.
You've got to be ready to give that. So,
yeah. What are some other misconceptions that you think people have when you think about running or runners in general, when they see runners?
I think from being a little kid, you think running, you have to run fast. That's the main thing. Running is fast. So when we try and run as a beginner, you're running like hard and then you're dying.
Yeah. You get you cannot run 5 minutes because you're like at max speed.
Exactly. So that's like one of the first things I teach the new people too. Slow down. No one says you're not training for the Olympics. Stop it. We don't have to be Kipchoge, whatever. Like, we're just doing our 30 seconds, slow and steady. That's all that you need to bring. You don't need to bring a sprint. I'm not telling you to sprint. I'm not a sprinter. I'm not sprinting. So just slow down. But from when we're in school, no one tells you that, because it's a race all the time. It's a race. And I try not to, sometimes I'll say race, but I try not to call it a race. We're signing up for an event, not a race. So we're not racing anyone. Especially now, we're just racing ourselves. We're not even racing ourselves. We're just doing it to see that we can. That's the only reason. So slow down.
Yeah.
Make it more achievable instead of making it harder. That's probably the main thing I teach people at the start. And then once they see that, they're like, oh, I thought running was fast. I'm like, yeah, right. We all do. Slow down.
Yeah. And what about on the flip side, because we're talking about misconceptions, but what are other things that you think you wanted people to know more about running, and maybe some of the ways that it has changed your own life and things that it has taught you?
Well, I think like the hard. Getting through the hard. That's probably the main thing. Being organized. Because if you want to commit to the plan, like I said, I can organize you. You've got to sort of sort that out yourself. Just that you can set like a massive scary goal and think, oh, I don't know if I can ever get there, but I'm going to put something into place and I'm going to give it a good shot. And it doesn't just have to be a running goal. It can be anything. So I think that's sort of the main thing. Like it just really translates to life and to just not, like there's just so many people that are highly anxious now. And I think running is great just to get rid of that. I had a period of time in my life where I was like ruled by the anxiety pre-running. And now I can't even imagine that would have been me. Like, how did I ever live like that to the point where I didn't want to leave the house because I'm like, oh, what if this happens? What if that happens? I used to run in the bush for like 6 hours. Not a care in the world. Nothing. Yeah. So I think it just it can free you from that life of being driven by fear or worries, which a lot of people are now, I think. Or a lot of people that I come across in life. And I'm like, don't worry about it. It's fine.
Yeah.
Think about today, not there.
Yeah. Yeah. And then now going back to the career piece, right? Because they went from teacher to having Rachel's runners, and then you had a health situation happen, and then now you still do the running club, but you also teach Pilates. But I want to talk more about reinventing yourself and finding yourself again after life happened.
Yeah.
Like, what are your thoughts on that? How has the experience been for you throughout all this?
Well,
life changes.
So I was a teacher for like a long time, 23 years. And then when I found the run coaching and it was going well and I wanted to perhaps pursue that, I thought, why am I staying in teaching? Like, what's holding me back from making that jump? So there was 3 main things. One was like the money, obviously. 2 is the school holidays, which you definitely need as a teacher. And 3, this is the biggest one, was because that's who everyone thinks I am. Well, why am I worried about them? My husband doesn't care. He said, yeah, we'll be fine money-wise. School holidays, oh, give it a go. So once I could get past those 3 things, that was the big sort of jump then, transition there. And once I made that one and I realized it doesn't matter what anyone else thinks, it's what I want to do. That's the biggest thing in life, right? Whose life am I living? My life, not anyone else's. Then I think it makes it easier then to keep doing that. So, again, back to the running. Once you push through and reach one of your goals, it's like, oh, well, I've done it once. Okay, now I can do it again. So yeah, that's sort of why it just like makes you less fearful then. But you got to push through once, I think, like the running. Got to push through one marathon. Yeah, we'll see from there, or 1 5K, and then go. All right, well, that was hard. Yeah, it was hard to make that decision, but I've done it now, and I've dealt with whatever people wanted to throw at me for. How long did it last? 5 minutes? I don't know, not long. Oh, why? But you're such a great teacher. We want you to stay. What if we make you permanent part-time? Blah, blah. Like a lot of that went on. And then I just stuck firm to it. And that was it. And then so down the track, I just like tried this. Not for me, not for me. Yep, try that. And then the Pilates just naturally evolved because I was doing it for so long anyway. And I'm like, oh, I'll give it a crack. So I'd already made the, first big decision to leave teaching. And then now I'm just like, oh, whatever opportunity comes my way, I'll give it a go.
Yeah.
Because if you think about it, but you don't give it a go, well, maybe it's always just sitting there. What if?
Yeah.
So and then you get to a point in your life where you're like, well, there's no more time for what ifs. I'm just going to give things a crack. If they don't work out, they don't work out. But perhaps when you're younger, you think about things more, worry about them more. So, and then you have like, I already had left teaching before I had the heart issue.
Mm-hmm.
So then when that happened, I'm like, oh, I'm glad I'd already made that decision because perhaps maybe I would have had to make that anyway. So it was already sort of made. But yeah. All right. Does that answer it?
Yeah. But I love what you said about Because that's who people think I am.
Yeah.
I think that's so powerful.
Yeah. That was like one of the main things that who people think I am. That's what I've always done.
Yeah.
Like when I was a little kid, I wanted to be a school teacher. Well, I did that. I did it well for a long time. Doesn't mean I have to stay there.
Did you have to, in this process, also tell yourself a different story about who you were? Because people see you a certain way, so you have a story that you think they have about you and a perception. But what about you internally? Did you have to make that switch internally as well to be like, I'm not just a teacher, I'm much more? And do you even define yourself as one thing and you find kind of your identity on that thing? Or how do you approach that internally?
I think so. But also think like I still am a teacher. So I haven't really, I've left the school,
Yeah.
but I haven't. And at the time, I remember thinking and talking to mum, because mum said when I was even in year 11 at school, so, second last year of high school, I said, oh, mum, I never want to leave school. And then I didn't, right? I went straight to university and then I taught for 23 years. So I say it took me like another, nearly 30 years to leave school. I didn't, because I didn't really feel, I don't know if the word safe is right or if it was ready, my time. So it took all that time and go, oh, well, I don't actually need this security of school or the routine or whatever it is that I liked. But yeah, and then I'm like, oh, now I can, because when you're not a teacher, when you're a teacher, you're in school from when you're little. You'd never leave. And then when you come out of it, it's like, oh my gosh, this world is so different. There's a world out here. Right. And I say to all other friends who are teachers and they have their gym chats like we do as teachers, we talk about this and complain about that and whatever. And I say, listen, you don't even know what it's like out here. You will be free. But I still, in saying that, I still use my skills.
Yes.
It's a great job. I think it's a great job. If you want to be really good and you can dedicate your life to it.
Yeah.
But then I just sort of got to a point where my interests went somewhere else and my kids were little and they needed me more.
Yeah.
And teaching is like, you're really tied to that as a.
And I think a lot about that because of the separating the skill from the source that you're using to apply that skill, right? Because teaching, you can teach in so many different ways and outlets and different ways of putting that talent, passion, or whatever into the world. It doesn't have to be that one thing. And I feel like sometimes we reduce ourselves to the task that we're doing, not the skill per se.
Yeah.
And it's really cool when I see people who are, and that inspires me a lot, like people who are able to recognize a certain skill that they have that can be applied in
Somewhere else.
different.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what it's like. Like I trained up to be a teacher and I used it well there and now I'm using it in different areas as well.
Yeah. That's so cool. And then, so what about because we've been talking about beginners a lot. What about for people that have been running for a little while? Because I want some advice for the marathon next week. So let's talk about mindset.
Yeah.
In the marathon. So what are some of your best tips for whoever is running a marathon like me and it's their first time? They don't know what they're doing, but they're happy to be there, but they need some tools that they can
get you
use.
through.
Yeah.
So first of all, don't go too fast at the start because you're in for the long game and you've done a really long run now, so you know how hard it gets. So really, and it's very hard at the start of it to not get swept up in that. And you probably will, to be honest, you probably will. So, but just thinking in the back of your mind, I have to just not, and you'll feel great because you've tapered, right? So your body's ready to go, especially at the start. You'll be like, I really just want to bang this out. But if you do that by like halfway, you're going to be, this is really going to be a struggle to get the rest done. So go slow from the start. Pick something that's going to help you through, whether it's your music or a distraction technique. Like I was saying before, I used to count to 100 over and over and over and over. Just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Just because it's just mind numbing. So it just keeps me going without thinking about anything else. And also it keeps me on track with fueling. So if I couldn't get through 100, I know I need to drink or eat something to get my brain back on track. Or you can pick a mantra, which I have done as well. Pick something like, this is really hard, but I'm doing it anyway. Like one of my favorite things is, it's hard, but I'm doing it anyway. Like face the fear and do it anyway. And then I like to, there's just so many different things you can use as distraction. And then if you get stuck on the numbers of like, oh, I'm only at, I don't know, 10 kilometers or whatever, I try and count up. And then once I get to the middle, I count backwards. I feel like once you get to the middle, you can start saying to yourself, I'm closer to the end than the beginning, which is so much better. Better, right? It's positive mindset. I try and teach people this too in my coaching, like flip your thinking. You're going to get all these negative thoughts. You've got to have something positive to come back at it with. So be prepared. But the brain can only do one thing well at a time, right? So if any of those strategies are no good, something that might be good for you to distract yourself is come up with go from A to Z, girls' names, right? Anna, Belinda, whatever. Okay. And then do boys' names, and then do like cities or towns or countries or anything like that. Just keep going through A to Z, because then you're focusing on that, not on whatever's hurting, right? Because something's going to hurt. Maybe lots of things will hurt. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's going to hurt.
I love that.
So any of those, like even you can count backwards from 100, but make it by something hard, like 7.
Yeah.
That's really hard, right? Or if you're a mathematician, it might not be. But, I have to really concentrate to work out what's next. So, yeah, any of those types of things. And then, that people say you get to like 30 Ks and that's your wall. Might not always be. Maybe on your first one it might be. It depends how you're feeling. But that's coming, right? And we're actually looking for it. We're searching for it. Don't be afraid to find it. Go searching. When you find it, you go, yep, here it is. This is it. This is what we came for. Let's embrace it. This is my hard today.
Mm-hmm.
And then think, right, tomorrow, this will be over. In a few hours, this will be over. So this is my hard right now, but it's not going to be my hard tomorrow. It might be my hard walking down the stairs. That's a different sitting down. It might be my, So just, try and distract yourself, break it down, flip your thinking. Any negatives, just find a positive to come and kick the negative away.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, look for the hard, like embrace it. Because, like you should feel great, awesome that you're doing it. Like, not many people do it. So, like, hardcore, yeah. I want to be right in there.
One of the things that really changed my mindset in running was everything that you talked about. Also becoming comfortable with hard and knowing that, like, search for it and it's gonna show up. It's not like, oh, is it gonna be? How can I make it easy? It's like it's still hard. I mean, it's somewhere. Yeah, maybe it changes where you find it.
That's right.
But you're always gonna find it. And this thinking of this is what I came for. I think it's so powerful because you're like, I'm not running away from it. It's here. So now how do I get through it? Yeah. Versus how do I run away from it? It's like, how do I get through it?
Yeah.
And I think when you change that in your mind, you don't necessarily attach the idea of hard to something negative, but you actually understand that it's part of it and it's actually something that you're searching for because you signed up to do this in the first place. Yeah. Then I think I think it changes your relationship with the whole moment and I think it's...
Yeah, and then that's how it relates to life, right? So instead of avoiding those hard situations, just like, no, I'm just going into it because it's not going anywhere if I back off. So let's just go in, deal with it, and then you move on. What's next? Yeah, just like that. What's next?
And I want you to close sharing a little bit more about the finding the hard that you were telling me earlier. So, when you see that hard, you have options and how you like power through. And
you mean like in the running type?
Yeah, like how do you find, because a lot of people don't even get to that hard, right?
Yeah.
So then like once you do, you have the option to
back off.
Yeah. Or you have the option.
Yeah. So I tell people, we're going, and sometimes I say this in the coach, like the fast, hard running. We're searching today. We're searching for our pinch point or our hard. It's there. You've got to find it. Don't be afraid of it. Because if you get to that point and you back off all the time, you're never improving yourself. whether it's physically or mentally. So you have to find it. And then when you find it, well, you can choose to back off. That's okay. But if you want to get better or learn to deal with hard, you've got to sit in it, right? And you just got to sit in it and go, yeah, this is hard. This is it. I found my hard today. And your hard's different every day, right? So like your easy is different every day. Okay, I'm just going to sit here. If I hold on long enough, I'm going to push through and I'll be on the other side. And the next time I come out or face this demon or whatever it is, it's going to be a little bit easier. And then I level up. Yeah. So some days we back off because every day is different. But yeah, on the days you can knuckle down and commit and just sit with the hard and just keep it going.
Yeah.
That's when you improve physically and mentally.
Yeah. And I think it's also so important because many of the things that are the most special things in life, they take a lot. Like they it takes a certain level of discomfort. It takes, so for you to get to that side and for you to get to that place that you want to be, whether that's, running is just, I think it's just a small example of, what life is. But like you practice here and then you take this to life. Right. And like maybe it's a job, maybe it's whatever. And you're like, maybe you don't think you can do it. And then you set that goal and you understand that it's okay if I'm uncomfortable. It's okay if it's not easy. So you already have that mindset, and then you start raising your bar and you understand that, yes, a lot of things that I want in life are going to require a certain level of discomfort, and I can do it.
Yeah.
Not because it's there,
That's right.
it's a sign that it's not for me. So I think
Because it's hard doesn't mean you shouldn't. That's what I like to say. Just because it's hard doesn't mean you shouldn't.
Yeah.
I love it. That's how you grow.
I love it. Well, thank you so much. This is great.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much. I hope people start running, and I'll see you on the next episode.
Good luck with your marathon.
Thank you.